Good morning, everybody. It's me, Kevin, and this is another live. And welcome to it. So today we're talking about 4 easy ways to get bitten. Nobody wants to get bitten, and also dogs don't want to get bitten. Real quick before I dive in, sometimes people wonder how we can help. We do online training, digital courses, in-person online training like via Zoom, and also in-person in-home training in certain areas like Northeast Ohio, Knoxville, Tennessee. All right, so let's go. So I recently, like on Monday, released a blog post, 4 easy ways to get bitten. I want to dive into that and talk a little bit more about it. Number one, approaching strange dogs. We as people oftentimes see dogs and we get blinded with, oh my goodness, that dog is so adorable, and we walk right over. And a lot of times we don't stop and think about how the dog feels about that. Sometimes we go as far to ask the owner, like, hey, pet parent, hey, can I pet your dog? And maybe the pet parent says yes. But I've spoken to a lot of people that say, well, I said yes, but I wasn't really sure how my dog felt about it. So think about it that way. We need to actually watch the dog and the dog's body language. So approaching strange dogs oftentimes makes them nervous. There are plenty of dogs out there that would love to be approached by strangers. I will put that out there. How you know that? A good way to look, a good thing to check is their body language. So if I'm approaching a strange dog and that strange dog is all wiggly and excited, you're probably good. But if the dog is still or obviously growling or something like that, you probably don't want to approach. The stillness fools people a lot because a lot of times we see a dog still meaning not moving much, and we think, oh, the dog's fine, he's whatever. Most likely, if the dog is very still, they're not fine. They're probably overwhelmed by things, and then having an extra stressor, like a person approaching and touching them, could be the straw that broke the camel's back. So that's a good way to receive a bite. So we have to put what we want aside sometimes and think about, okay, we love dogs. Let's try to respect them and the fact that they are beings and not just touch them. And it can be hard. Again, some are really cute. So watch the body language, but also don't approach strange dogs. Let's try to give them their space. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and this is more number two, climbing on dogs. This is definitely more for kids. This is a big one. So climbing on dogs, what does that mean? It means dog is lying down and child comes over and starts crawling on top of them, maybe pulling their hair, all that sort of stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people, parents say, oh, my dog is so tolerant, they let my child climb all over him. Well, maybe they are tolerating it, but if you look closely, I guarantee you they're throwing out stress indicators. They're licking their lips, they're yawning, they're panting, they're turning their head away. Maybe it never turns into anything. Maybe it always stays there. Well, okay, so your child may not get bitten by your dog, which is great. We don't want our children to get bit by dogs. I'm a parent myself. But what are we teaching our children? Well, we're teaching our children, oh, it's perfectly fine to climb on top of dogs. What does that mean? Well, that means when your child goes to a friend's house and there's a dog there, they're going to treat that dog like it's a stuffed animal and start climbing on top of it and everything, and your child is likely to get bitten. Maybe even your dog ends up biting another child because that child is used to being allowed to climb on top of their own dog, but your dog is not going to necessarily tolerate it like they do their own children. So it's possible that your dog might bite your own child. It's also very possible that your child's going to get bitten by another dog, like a friend's dog, and we just really shouldn't put dogs in that position. Dogs have mouths with teeth, and having children climb on top of them is just not a good recipe. So try to put your thought aside, oh, my dog tolerates it. I guarantee you your dog doesn't love it. And if they're not loving it, why should we continue to allow it? So climbing on top of dogs, I would say don't do it. And number three, ignoring signs of stress or stress signs. So the panting, the lip licking, the yawning, the turning away. Those are subtle signs, or to a lot of people it's subtle. As a dog trainer, I recognize those, so they're not so subtle to me. But look for those things. Obviously, growling and barking and biting are not so subtle. But if we're doing things to our dogs and they're starting to show those signs, we should stop and go, okay, what's going on? So whether we're trimming nails, restraining them for something, looking in their ears, whatever it is, if they're starting to show signs of stress, you might get lucky and maybe it stays there, but there's also a good chance that it's going to escalate to the next thing, which is a bite. So let's really quickly talk about that. What if I have to trim my dog's nails? Otherwise, my dog's nails are going to get out of control. Well, there's a process that you can do called basically counter conditioning and desensitization. You don't have to remember what those words, but ultimately it means kind of work at your dog's pace and pair it with a lot of good stuff. So a quick idea is get them happy about having their feet touched. Touch the foot, give a treat, touch foot, give a treat. Do that until they're really happy about it. And then get like a nail file. File, treat, file, treat. You're going to notice that your dog is going to start to become a willing participant. I'm not going to dive in any deeper than that. Way too much to talk about in a short little live. That could be another one. But watch those signs, and if they are starting to show signs of stress, honestly, a good thing to do would be to contact a qualified trainer. So contact me. Academy for Dog Trainers has a list of trainers. We can help, and we can do it in a way that your dog is feeling better and everybody's staying safe. So number 3, stop ignoring stress signs is an easy way to get bitten. So let's watch those things. Number 4, getting physical. What does that mean? Well, there's a whole way of training out there that is all about being physical. So hit your dog if they're doing the wrong thing, pin them to the ground, yell at them. And while nobody's perfect, I'm sure everybody yells at their dog on occasion. I mean, no, I don't think anybody wants to, but there's a whole way of training out there that is all about corrections, physically correcting your dog. That is a good way to increase stress. In doing so, it's a good way for your dog to stop trusting you, just be nervous around you, and doing all that is a great way to increase the chances of a bite. So physical punishment, while it may stop behavior when it's happening, there are side effects involved with that, so don't do it. So again, collar corrections on walks, jabbing them in the neck when they're doing the wrong thing with your hand, any sort of physical contact that you're doing to your dog to try to get them to stop a behavior is likely going to lead to some issues down the road. So don't do that. If your dog's doing unwanted behavior, think about, okay, what would I like them to do instead? I would like you to stop barking, so how about you sit here next to me when I'm in my meeting and you work on your interactive toy, that sort of stuff. If you do have to punish, try to take away what they want. There's no side effects with that, so don't get physical. It can create issues. All right, those are the 4 easy ways to get bitten. There's a lot more. And again, dogs don't want to bite. Dogs aren't out there seeking blood for breakfast. They simply just want to be left alone, and they're trying to increase distance if they are biting. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I will check back in. Have a good week. See you in a couple weeks. Bye.